Hey, I'm Bob Murray, and we're here at the Philadelphia Expo Outdoor Show for 2011. And out of the crowd, I pulled a good fishing buddy of mine, Kurt Kirby. And Kurt doesn't guide, he just fishes. and a super smallmouth. I'm taking an expert on smallmouth fishing. He has shown me and taught me a whole bunch about fishing the Susquehanna and the Delaware River. And I pulled him out of the crowd because today is Friday, and you were fishing on Wednesday in the Susquehanna River.
Yes,
Kurt,
sir.
tell us about it a little bit.
I just couldn't take it anymore. The cold winter, it was just driving me nuts. So I talked to my buddy. I says, we got to go. And we talked to a couple of friends. And they said there was some open water up in Sealands Grove, up in that area below a power plant discharge. So we went. We went up there and we found some open water, found an open ramp and went out.
And the water temperature, now don't forget, this is February, 18th, and
Yep.
What was the water temperature out there?
If you went any more than 50 yards offshore, it was 31.5 degrees. Right alongside the shore, it was 38 to 41.
And that's where the fish were.
That's where the fish were.
And again, we're talking about smallmouth bass
Yes,
fishing.
smallmouth.
And what were you catch? I mean, you were talking but what were you catching them on? So
we tried all kinds of different stuff. We tried the tubes, we tried the hair jigs, and we were using the jerk baits. I ended up getting a few on the tubes. The jerk baits is what really took off.
And from the other guys that I know were out there, the size of the bait was really critical this time with the size of the.
It's using very small. If you're familiar with the Lucky Craft lures, and even the X-Wraps, they have like three main sizes, 6, 8, and 10, and the Lucky Crafts are 65, 78, and 100s. We were using the 65, so I was using the 65, the smaller size, like 2.5 inches.
And again, how were you fishing those?
Very slow,
just
very slow. Throwing them out there with the current, just giving them little twitches, twitch, and they'd come up and the bite ranged from a little tap to absolutely smashing it towards the end of the day. Once that magic hour came on, the witching hour, it was fun.
I'm standing here right now. I'm shivering because I'm going.
Yeah, well, me too. I'm ready to go back. Yeah.
And you caught. I mean, these were decent fish. Am I correct?
My big fish was 19.5, 19 inches, 19 and a half inches.
Boy, can you imagine? I mean, somebody says 19-inch fish in February.
In February.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, when you and we've done a couple of shows together, and we've caught some very nice big fish.
Yes.
At this time of year in December on the Delaware River, when we did that show, we were catching some really decent fish. And again, out on
cold water. I love the cold water, whether it's fall, winter, spring, early spring.
That's what really brings those fish.
That's where you get the big ones. You're not going to have high number days,
right.
But the quality is going to be considerably better.
Right, and that's the whole. And again, just tell us a little bit. You had to get off the water because of what?
We're sitting there. I'm sitting there floating down the side. It's getting late. We have an hour and a half left of daylight. And water temperature, like I said, was right around 39, 40 degrees. And the fish turned on like a light switch. It was just unbelievable. It's like almost every cast for 5 or 6 fish. I turn around, and there's about half a mile of ice coming right down alongside the shore. It must have let go up above and made its way downriver. We got to get off this water quick because we're gonna get caught up in this ice. Luckily we were only 100 yards above the boat ramp, and so we ran up and got it trailered.
So you really didn't go far from the ramp then, basically.
On the way, when the fish turned on in the afternoon, no, we were headed back towards the ramp, and from all day I didn't go any more than a half a mile above the ramp. I was fishing. Wasn't far.
Okay, one other question. How many boats were out there? Oh, I know one other one. But
yeah, right. There was a couple of guys out. A good friend of mine, Chris, was out there. And there was a couple of boats above us, but not too many guys. More guys on the shore. There were a few guys on the shore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wading in. Well, guys were wading.
Yeah, well.
Locals, that's what it's all about.
They know what it's about.
They know what they got.
And that, if those of you who are not familiar, the Susquehanna, we start Harrisburg on up, but you really have to have a jet boat to fish
Oh,
that.
yeah, you really. I mean, for the most, you could get away sometimes in the higher water without. There's guys that have props, that know the river, but it's very high risk. You got to have the jet boat, because of the boulders and stuff like that.
Equipment, what were you using? Spinning rods?
I was using all spinning rods.
And
sensitivity, ease of casting in the cold. Your fingers are cold.
Yeah.
You're not reeling fast. It's very slow, very methodical.
And you're using the braided now?
I'm using the braided fire line. I need to feel that touch, because they're not. Sometimes they hammer it, sometimes they don't.
And so
And mono in the cold weather, mono tends to stay spooled up. You know, it doesn't gets real tight.
Yeah, yeah.
Stays that way.
And what pound test?
I was using 6 and 8.
6 and 8.
6 and 8 Fireline.
And now diameter is like
oh, it's thin stuff.
It's really, really, really thin stuff. Well, I tell you what, I when I saw you today, I was angry at you because here I am, and I enjoy meeting all my friends and doing all this stuff here at the show. I said, but boy, I like to be out there catching some smallies.
We'll have to get out there again, Bob.
Yeah,
I'm game.
Yeah,
I'm game. Sometime in the next 2 months or so. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
this one is going to take off. She's gonna take off and go here.
I hope.
She's itching.
Oh yeah,
I can see the rivers coming to life. It was beautiful watching it come back to springtime. You know, signs of spring.
Let me ask you
birds and
a couple of questions. I hear a lot of people talking to me about the Susquehanna going downhill as far as smallmouths go. Now, I've been out with you, and I've caught some quality fish, and I know, you've caught quality fish. What's your opinion on it? You've been out there many, many years, and you know it very, very well.
I have mixed emotions about that, and, the Pennsylvania Fish Commission is starting to implement different programs to address that. The problem with the Susquehanna River is you're not seeing the juvenile fish, the fish that would have been born, last year, the year before, in the last 6-7 years. You're not seeing that many of those fish, the 6-inch to 11-inch fish. There's 12, there's 13s, not a whole lot. Plenty of 14s left. Those are fish that were born, 8-9 years ago. Your bigger fish out there are the ones that are still from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Wow.
They're 10 years old, 11 years old. And there's still a good number of those. Yeah, it has some problems. They had some columnaris problems, and and they're dealing with it. Hopefully they can find a solution.
Well, like I said, a lot of people are just kind of, oh my gosh, I don't see him, and it's just this or that or this or that, and
it's definitely made fishing tougher. Don't get me wrong, but the opportunities for a trophy fish are still there.
Now, do you think? Is it a cyclic thing too?
Absolutely.
You know how.
Absolutely, yes.
They say that's what I always felt.
Mother Nature, finds ways. Hopefully, she can here. We're not helping it. Man's not helping it. The sewage discharges and whatever. Whatever the causes are, the standard causes. Low oxygen in the summer, low flows in the summer, high flows during spawn. There's all kinds of different cycles.
Yeah, a hurricane or a flood or something.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let me just switch gears a little bit. Now, the Delaware River is close to where you live, I live. You're not so happy with it this year.
She's fished tough for me the last couple of years, and I've spent some good amount of time on her. And my section that I fish, usually from like Frenchtown down or Easton down towards Trenton, has been difficult for me. I hear some guys are doing okay. What's okay? I know I've been out there a few times and haven't been able to hook up at all, and that's Yardley. It's my backyard.
Yeah, right.
I spent a lot of time in Yardley over the years.
Yeah, that's a given down there, right?
I have 3 days in December without a touch.
Without a touch.
And that's odd. And I picked but hopefully she can make a rebound. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's no fish or, I don't want to speculate because I don't know. But it sure does seem like the fishing has dropped. The smallmouth bass has dropped off the population.
Because then a lot of guys say, well, because of the big stripers in there now are eating the bass.
There's all kinds of guesses.
Right.
There's all kinds. I don't know.
Well, I hope it comes back because I live right there.
So do I. And hey, I travel to Susquehanna. It's a 4-hour round trip for me.
That's right.
You're talking gas money. That's big time bucks.
That's right.
Tolls, $25 in tolls.
Yeah.
That's $100 a day.
Right.
So it's expensive.
But
it's worth it. to me, it's worth it. They say, how can you afford to do that? Well, how can I afford not to?
Exactly. You could spend your money on something else,
Absolutely.
but not get as much pleasure
That's
out of it.
my wife. My wife, I know where you're at. I know what you're doing. You'll be home in an hour, 2 hours after dark. And I was like, yep, that's right. So.
Well, Kurt, I want to thank you an
awful lot. My pleasure, Bob.
And,
I enjoyed it.
Obviously we email each other and stuff like that. Again, give us some reports. Throw it to our website, and definitely call me and talk to me, and we'll get out there.
When we have a hot and heavy action going, I'll let you know, and we'll see if we can't hook up, do something.
All right, thank you very much.
I have available time. My pleasure.
Delaware Valley Outdoors live from the Philadelphia Outdoor Show.